Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. FPL Consult here, and in today's video I'm going to share with you guys my Gameweek 23 transfer plans. It has been such a long time since we've had a video on the channel, so firstly I have to say it's good to be back. Thank you all for bearing with me for the lack of content over the past few game weeks. Work has really been catching up, but thankfully now I think it will start to get better. We're into the new year now, and I think work is clearing up as well, so hopefully we'll be able to get videos out more consistently, starting with today's Gameweek 23 transfer plans. So on screen what I have right now is my Gameweek 22 scores. Now I'm recording this as the Newcastle versus Wolves game is still ongoing. There's probably going to be lots of changes to my final score and also my final rank, but I wanted to put on screen here to show you guys right now, I'd say how badly my starting 11 is doing, but also how well my bench is looking, right? I have 5 points from Dubravka. Anderson also has 5 points. Rodon has 6 points. And Dorgu has 15 points. That is an incredible 31 points on my bench. Now, if you had asked me before the Game Week 22 deadline, would I have thought that my bench would have 31 points? I probably think you're joking. But looking at it right now, it just is very, very painful to look at this bench. But what I also say is that in terms of my benching decisions, I was never going to start Dorgu in my starting 11. So I was never going to get his 15-pointer. Let me know in the comments down below if you had Dorgu. Did you actually start him in your 11 and therefore reap the 15 points? If you did, massive congratulations to you. I was never going to start him, so I'm not too bummed about it, even though obviously I'd be happier if I did start him. The rest of the players on the bench, I mean, Anderson with a 5-pointer, it's not the end of the world if I don't have him in my starting 11, even though he did outscore majority of my players. In fact, almost all of my players, barring Raya and Gabriel. It remains to be seen how Bruno G does, and also Rogers against Everton. Let's hope he does well. By the time you're watching this, you probably already know the scores. And then Rodon there with a 6-pointer. I was this close to actually starting Rodon ahead of O'Reilly, but I felt like there was a chance that O'Reilly would be starting the game. Obviously, it turns out that he didn't. He came on at halftime, and thereafter conceding 2 goals and also getting a yellow card means that he's on -1. So it's kind of a 7-point swing had I started Rodon. And to be fair, Rodon against Fulham, I did expect Fulham, who were on quite a good run, I'd say, to actually trouble the Leeds defense a little bit, but turns out that Rodon actually did keep a clean sheet. So eventually, when I look at this bench here, it's not great, but at least Game Week 23 is on the horizon. There's lots to talk about for Game Week 23, so I'm going to leave it here for Game Week 22, and let's have a look at the Game Week 23 team. So this is how my team looks like for Game Week 23 without any transfers made. I have 2 free transfers and 0.6 million in the bank. Now, the initial plan for Game Week 23 was to roll my transfers. I have Raya in goal, who plays Manchester United at home. I think that's fine. In the back line, there's O'Reilly, Gabriel, and Van Dijk. Now, on paper, I think all of these fixtures are actually okay, but now there's a couple of issues in defense. O'Reilly hasn't been starting consistently, and honestly, I was looking at this Wolves fixture as one of the reasons why I wanted to hold on to him. Now I'm not even sure if he'll start against Wolves, so he's the first problem. Secondly, Van Dijk, Liverpool just have not been keeping clean sheets at all, and away at Bournemouth, I mean, they just conceded to Burnley at home at Anfield. I'm not even fancying a clean sheet for Van Dijk against Bournemouth here, so he also happens to be an issue. Do I deal with him this week or wait until Game Week 24? That's also another decision point. In midfield, I think this is where I'm okay with the players, but for Game Week 23 specifically, I think maybe the fixtures are not super ideal for Rogers and Bruno G because they are playing each other. That said, it is at St. James's Park, and Bruno G is pretty good in terms of his form at St. James's Park. So we'll see. I'm not planning to kind of sell him just yet. I'm okay to hold him for this game. Same for Rogers as well. As for Declan Rice, he is for me a season keeper probably, so long as he's fit. I think he's the better asset to own over Saka. You just saw that Saka didn't start in Game Week 22. So right now, looking at the way things are, it seems as if attacker-wise, Rice seems to be the one to go for. In terms of Phil Foden, he did come off after the first half of the Manchester derby. Now, there were some kind of suspicions after the game that he came off because of a suspected broken hand. Kind of in the way that he landed, it seems as if he injured himself. So we'll see what happens. But actually, Pep did also come out to kind of quash those comments or suspicions. So right now, I'd say that it's in a bit of a limbo. We don't really know, but at least there are some midweek games. We will get some more information on Phil Foden. If he does miss out that game, I actually fancy my chances that he'll start against Wolves come game week 23. And then he's a very easy swap. It's just a matter of time that I do Foden to Bruno Fernandes in game week 24. That's just a transfer waiting to happen. I'm not intending to move for Bruno Fernandes right now because he plays Arsenal, and no matter how well he did against Man City last week, I'm not so keen on buying a player when they play Arsenal away. Right, so I do think like I'll hold off the Bruno move one more week, and Foden will be that placeholder for now. And then up front, it's Haaland, Thiago, and Ekitike. Ekitike is, I think right now, overall, Liverpool feels like an issue, and I have the captain on him, but I would obviously not be captaining him. That was just my previous week captain. I did captain Ekitike in game week 22. Unfortunately, he did not return against Burnley, even though Haaland blanked. So no net gains or lost. But yeah, I did find that there was an opportunity to go against Haaland in game week 22. Seems like that didn't work out. In game week 23, he plays Wolves, so I'm definitely not going to mess about with this one. There's a couple of, things going around about Haaland being tired, or Pep has also alluded to the fact that Haaland seems to be tired. He's waiting for Omar Mamouche to come back. So we'll see what happens. Maybe Mamouche helps to share a bit of minutes from Haaland. But regardless, no matter how many minutes Haaland gets against Wolves, even if it's an early sub, I'll still take my chances against Wolves here at home. And then on the bench, kind of same players as last week. So right now, looking at the options that I have, I think O'Reilly is kind of the main issue that I have. Obviously, I'm going to monitor the minutes for Man City midweek and see who they field in defense. But right now, it does feel as if Nathan Ake is ahead of O'Reilly in terms of the left back options. And there's also Ryan Aitnui to throw into the mix. Now, what we did see in the Manchester derby is that Max, who played in the center of defense, got taken off at halftime, presumably because I did feel he didn't play very well in the first half. So Nathan Ake went into the centre-back position, and thereafter O'Reilly came in to fill in at left-back. So I think right now it's just a case where I'm not sure about O'Reilly's minutes, and if I just don't want to take the risk, I may as well do the transfer. So the one that I'm considering very strongly is actually O'Reilly to Chalobah, right? Because eventually, come game week 24, they go on a really good fixture swing, Chelsea. It's West Ham, Wolves, Leeds, Burnley, and 3 out of these 4 green fixtures are at home. So Crystal Palace away in game week 23 is also not the worst fixture in the world, given how Crystal Palace right now are dealing with lots of issues. Players leaving, Gehi just left, Mateta potentially leaving by the end of January. So lots of issues there. So maybe it's not the worst thing in the world to just go slightly earlier, bring Chalobah in. At least I know Chalobah will start as compared to O'Reilly. He may have the better fixture, but I don't know whether he will start or not. And then there's Virgil van Dijk. I probably would keep for one more week, I think. Come game week 24, it starts to be, absolutely terrible because it's Newcastle and Man City, and then they go away to Sunderland, and away to Sunderland is not easy this season. You've seen how Sunderland actually have a really good home record, and then Nottingham Forest away. So I think Van Dijk is definitely a player that I'm looking to sell pretty soon, but I think I can hold on to him for one more week. Let's hope he does well. Same for Ekitike as well. And then come game week 24, I probably make a couple more aggressive moves. If I am to look forward a little bit, Foden to Bruno Fernandes is one of the penciled in moves. And this is where I'll need to kind of free up money. So I'm kind of looking at Virgil van Dijk out and kind of 5.4 million. I have a couple of options. I could go to Senesi because this is when Bournemouth's fixtures actually start to look pretty good, starting with Wolves in game week 24. They go on a pretty decent run. And I do like that Senesi is really good for DEFCON as well. So in terms of overall plans for my team, it could look something like this by the time Gameweek 24 comes around. And then I think I have to factor in the consideration to get Cole Palmer in as well. Now, obviously, with this route of transfers, it does seem like I won't be able to get Cole Palmer, but ideally I do want that. And the player that I'm intending to kind of offload is actually Bruno G, because Newcastle do go on a pretty tricky run, and it's Liverpool, Spurs, and Man City in the next 3 game weeks from Gameweek 24, that is. Right, most of them are away from home, especially against the slightly tougher opponents. And yeah, Newcastle are just not as good away from home as they are at home. So Bruno G is the one that I want to sell for Cole Palmer. But as you guys can see, already with the nature of transfers that I have to make, I have to factor in extra transfers to potentially bring Cole Palmer in. Likely also sell like a TK for this down to 6.1 million. I'm looking at Calvert-Lewin as well. I'm kind of 0.1 in the bank here, but I don't think I have enough transfers. So there's a couple of options for me. I could either bring it down to something like a -4. So I could choose not to go for Bruno Fernandes just yet. I could try to prioritize Cole Palmer here. Take a -4 in kind of game week 24. And thereafter just prioritize Palmer instead of Bruno Fernandes against West Ham here. It is the better fixture still. And then potentially, I look to maybe bring Dorgu in, because Dorgu does look right now like he's a player I could still hold on to. At least that's my thought surrounding him. Keep Foden for 1 more week and then wait until kind of 25 to bring Bruno Fernandes in. Now, the only downside of this is that I think as I drag the move longer and longer, Bruno Fernandes will just continue to rise in price, and bringing him now against in Game Week 25 against Tottenham may not be super ideal, and I probably will be priced out by the time this comes around. So I think there will be more issues surrounding that. But at least for Game Week 24, you can see that I want to make lots of transfers, and that's why come Game Week 23 now, I'm trying to save as much transfers as I can, so that I have a little bit more flexibility. So even this move to get Chalobah here instead of O'Reilly, if possible, and if I feel confident enough that O'Reilly will start, I mean, he's been absolutely disappointing, but if I'm confident enough that O'Reilly, if I can get his name out, if I'm confident that O'Reilly is going to start against Wolves, then I hope I can roll. This is a week I still hope I can roll. It's not the worst thing in the world if I have to look for replacements on my bench. Rodon has Everton away. If I want to just bank on Rodon again, I could. If I want to play Dorgu here against Arsenal, I mean, it's not ideal, but could I do it if against Arsenal just for 1 week, just to give myself more transfers for Game Week 24? It's possible, right? So all this to say, I will wait for more information on kind of the Man City lineup midweek, see what happens, predict the minutes for O'Reilly. Potentially, if I feel he starts, then I roll again. So long story short, this is kind of the plan. And also, in terms of my future moves, I will try to get a team selection video out so that you guys would know as and when I make transfers. If not, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Please do drop a like. Please do subscribe as well. And I hope to catch you guys in more Game Week 23 content that should be coming very, very soon. Bye-bye.